Hello, thanks for joining us for Talking Europe. We are today at the European Commission with European Commissioner for the Economy, Paolo Gentiloni. Mr. Gentiloni, thanks for being with us.
Hello.
Let's get straight to the point. The European economy, very worrying for many people at this point. Are we heading for a recession?
Well, for sure, we have now a slowdown. It's quite possible that we will enter in a negative territory for the economy, maybe at the end of this year or next year. We are not yet exactly there, but the direction, unfortunately, is after a good first half of this year, better than expected, then in the second half, and I fear in the last month of the year, we will reach zero growth and maybe negative.
And a lot of the pressure is coming from the high energy prices, as we know, the biggest element of inflation. On Thursday of this week, the Confederation of European Business made a call saying that high gas and electricity costs pose an imminent threat to thousands of EU companies and that Brussels must take swift action to soften the blow. Do you agree with this assessment, and will there be swift action?
I agree, provided that we remember that we have been working on this since a few months, and this work was not useless. Just to mention a few examples, first we reduced our import of gas from Russia from 40% to 9%. We increased very much the storage of gas, which is now at 90%, so very, very high. We introduced measures of saving energy, and we proposed measures for a contribution of solidarity for the extra profits of energy companies. We are still working, and we made proposals to the energy ministers on Friday. We are still working on the possibility of a price cap on gas, but we decided a price cap on imported oil from Russia, and this is within the framework of the G7. So let me say that, yes, we have to act, but we have been working since months, and I think that we can be concerned of the evolution of the coming months, but we will go through this difficult winter for an energetic point of view.
And now, of course, a lot of this pressure coming from sanctions that the European Union countries have chosen to impose, along with many countries in the West, on Russia. Those strongest ever sanctions on Russia, they've been in place for more than 7 months now, and they keep being added to. Just in recent days, we're told that targeted sanctions being prepared, targeting, for example, diamonds, caviar, oil, steel, very diverse. However, for example, just on diamonds, there's been strong pushback from Belgium, where with Antwerp, the world's biggest diamond trading city, where there are concerns about thousands of job losses. Just an example, perhaps, that as the Commission goes further down the line with these sanctions, it seems to be becoming harder, perhaps, to find things to sanction and also agreement among the 27 member states.
Well, this is our main goal and main concern, to keep our unity. We were able to do so, honestly. I was Italian foreign minister in the period of the annexation of Crimea, and I remember very well how difficult it was to have unanimity for a very, very light package of sanctions at the time. Now we had 7, and yesterday, or 2 or 3 days ago, we presented the 8th package of sanctions: oil cap, reduction of trade on steel and other things, and further listings of people. So I think that this is quite impressive. Honestly, I don't think that President Putin was expecting such a unanimous reaction from the European Union.
Now, just in terms of new sanctions that may be coming, there could potentially be some in light of damage that's been done to the Nord Stream pipelines running from Russia to Germany through the Baltic Sea. Now, several EU governments have said they believe that the damage was done deliberately without pointing the finger directly at Russia. But that seems to be the subtext.
Well, these damages are very serious. They happen perhaps 70 meters below the surface of the sea, and they are very substantial explosions. So one thing is sure, it's not something done by an amateur. But we have no elements at all, and what we have to do is not at the moment pointing fingers, but working to strengthen the security. We always thought to the security of these pipelines from a technical, environmental point of view, and of course this is very important. Now we have to think to the security also from this point of view.
Well, several member states have rushed to take action to protect other aspects, elements of their infrastructure. Do you see that there is a potential risk that there could be more damage?
Well, when you experience such things, whoever is the responsible, you have to avoid that these things could be repeated. We know that especially in this area, we have several pipelines. The Nord Stream 1 and 2 are 4 different pipelines. Then we have the so-called Baltic pipeline also in the same area. So protecting this is overall a responsibility.
And just in terms of repercussions, you said that it's not clear at this point who might have caused this or how it might have been caused. Commission President Ursula von der Leyen promised in the last few days that, quote, any deliberate disruption of active European energy infrastructure is unacceptable and will lead to the strongest possible response. What does that mean? What kind of response?
Well, I think that we should not anticipate time and escalate in words. I think the President was very clear in assessing the fact that we have to strengthen security, and if we have clear evidence of responsibilities, we have to react.
Now, let's speak about your home country, Italy, the country that you were Prime Minister of and where you were head of the Democratic Party for some time. In the last week, we found out there is set to be a new government in Italy, led in all likelihood by Giorgia Meloni and her Brothers of Italy party, Fratelli d'Italia, which is seen as being very much on the far right of European politics. Now, she's said very openly, says she doesn't want to leave the EU, but she wants this Europe of nations, such as Marine Le Pen has spoken about in the past, a much looser alliance. Prior to the election, Ursula von der Leyen was asked if she was concerned about this. Are you concerned?
Well, first of all, let me say that, of course, we have to respect the citizens' choices. It's not for us to decide the future of single member states. Second, indeed, we have different views on Europe and on the role of the European common institutions. But having said this, we will evaluate the decisions of the Italian government as we evaluate the decisions of all governments. And we have 2 main points. First is the respect of our treaties and the values that are inside our treaties. And second, the respect of the agreements that we have. For example, it's very important that we continue implementing this resilience and recovery plan, which is very important, not only for Europe, it's very important for Italy. 200
billion euros due to go to Italy in total.
It's so huge. And let be very clear, in this moment where fiscal space is not enormous, high inflation, economic difficulties, here you have a possibility to continue to invest, provided that you decide also on reforms, and to keep supporting your economy. And that's, I think, it's a great opportunity that Italy will not lose.
You mentioned there about respect for treaties and respect for EU values. This brings me back to something Ursula von der Leyen also said before the election. She said that the European Commission has tools that it can use if any member state, if Italy, should deviate from those democratic principles. Now, some critics, including Matteo Salvini of the Lega Party, took this as a threat to Giorgia Meloni. Was it a threat?
Well, the president clarified, I think, very quickly that she was not particularly referring to this or that country. And I think we have to be very...
She was asked about Italy, specifically.
Yes, but I think the clarification was immediate. We are the guardians of the treaty. This is how we present our role here in Brussels. But it is true. And this is not towards this or that country. This is in general, and this will be also the attitude with Italy, but also with other countries.
Just a very brief word about the EU's former member, very close neighbour, the United Kingdom, facing turbulent times, the pound value nosediving, the International Monetary Fund making a rare intervention, saying it's closely monitoring developments, the subtext being that it's concerned about spillover of instability into the wider economy. How concerned are you about the direction that Liz Truss is taking this G7 member nation?
Well, I'm concerned from the financial consequences that we see in the markets. I am not here to give lessons to the British government, but maybe to take lessons for us from what happened there. And the lesson is that financial markets are very volatile, and that if you take decisions that are not well understood, this could create consequence in a very, very short time. And this is the lesson for us, for the European Union, to keep coordination and avoid taking decisions without explaining these decisions to the markets. Lesson for us, not lesson from us to UK.
Mr. Gentiloni, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And thanks to you for watching as well. See you very soon on France 24.